The F-22 brings, of course, the stealth capability combined with speed.
Okay, we're ready. 3, 2, 1, action.
Breaking news now, U.S. stealth fighter jets have intercepted a pair of Russian bombers in international airspace.
North Korea carrying out its third missile test just in 8 days. And the president put out a series of tweets, and they read in part, "These missile tests are not a violation of our signed Singapore agreement, nor was there discussion of short-range missiles when we shook hands." He goes on to say North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will do the right thing because he is far too smart not to, and he does not want to disappoint his friend, President Trump. So the president clearly downplaying this. Do you think the president is strengthening Kim's position? And also, what kind of a message does this send to our allies, U.S. allies in the area?
It sends a terrible message to our allies in the area because these missiles are solid fueled, which means they can be sort of set up for launch in minutes. They're mobile, so they can't be easily detected. They can reach our bases in South Korea within minutes, and they can reach Japan and other places equally quickly, or at least as quickly. So this is sending a message to our allies in the region is that we're not as interested in their security as we once were. That's one interpretation, which I think they'll draw. And this represents continued technical improvements by the North Koreans in their whole rocket fleet, their missile fleet, and their technology. And again, going back to
So you're making the point, look, even though it may not be able to make it to the U.S., this is not something to be ignored because they're clearly making
progress, and that progress can also translate into technical aspects of intercontinental missiles, which would affect us. But I think the other factor is this Singapore agreement was this nebulous notion of we're going to work for denuclearization. We have not yet reached a suitable understanding with the North Koreans of what does denuclearization mean.
What is that? How do you define that? That is still an open question even to this day.
They claim it means they keep nuclear weapons. They just don't have as many as they had before. We say they have to give up absolutely all their weapons. We haven't even reached that conclusion.
Sue Gordon, the #2 intelligence official here in the U.S., is resigning. She's stepping down at the middle of this month, coinciding with the departure of Dan Coats, who was the head of the, who was the director of national intelligence. The president just tweeted about this a few moments ago. What do you make of that, Susan? What can you tell us about that? This is an important development because the process for naming a new director of national intelligence may not be followed, it seems here.
Right, so this has been the concern ever since Dan Coats announced that he was leaving, whether or not the president would essentially follow the law. It's called the Vacancies Reform Act that requires that the next in line become the acting director. And so we saw Trump do this actually whenever the DHS secretary stepped down. What he did was he went ahead and forced out the number 2, Claire Grady, so that he could appoint any other Senate-confirmed executive officer in that position, basically a way to work around the laws that Congress has set here. So once again, this looks like it might have occurred here. In the past couple of days, there's been reporting that Trump didn't want Sue Gordon to rise up to be the acting DNI. He was concerned that she might have ties to John Brennan. She's a longtime, well-respected, highly regarded, intelligence officer. So the concern here really is that she's being forced out after this very long and storied career to open the way for the president to basically put someone in that job and circumvent Congress to do so.
The president's critics have said the reason why this is happening is he wants somebody who is very political, somebody who is going to be loyal to him at the top of the intelligence community.
I think that's only part of the story. Let me read between the lines, and having heard of this now for 90 seconds, and give you an interpretation. I think Susan's right. I mean, you have a standard process where Sue would go through, and I know her a little bit, would go through and be acting for at least a bit. She's got to feel disrespected if that's not going to happen. But there's something else afoot here, Jim. Typically, if she's got 30-plus years of service, if you have that level of service, you're going to say, even if I've been disrespected as a responsibility to the American people, I'm going to stay in place while the president of the United States picks somebody else in a leadership position. To step away and leave this level of vacancy tells me behind the scenes, it has got to be ugly, Jim. It's got to be ugly.